Today's lesson is all about the fractions with the same numerator. Yesterday we were talking about same denominator, 1/8, 5/8. You just counted up how many eighths you were talking about, and since they were the same size, whichever numerator was bigger was the bigger fraction. Well, today our numerator is staying the same. Again, our numerator is how many parts are shaded in. So we're looking now to notice the difference between the denominators, which is what our fractions are split into. When we're talking about halves, we draw these. When we're talking about thirds, we draw these. And we see that if we were to shade in 1/2 of a pizza and also shade in 1/3 of a pizza, 1/2 is actually more. It's not a huge amount more, but it is more because it's up and down, whereas this is just slightly off to the right. So 1/2 is greater than 1/3, which is weird because we're used to 3 being more than 2. But because we're talking about 1 out of 2 pieces versus 1 out of 3 pieces, 1 out of 2 pieces is a bigger slice. And it's good to remember that our pizzas, or whatever we're splitting up, is the same size. Right? If we're talking about a pizza that's this size, and we have to make sure our pizzas are relatively the same size. This is probably where our fraction flip book is more helpful than drawing a picture, because I know we do our best to draw our fractions as perfectly as we can, but they're not always the best. I know I don't draw them the best, but what's so nice about our fraction flip book is look very carefully at where 1/2 ends. See that line? That's the end of 1/2. Now look at where the end of 1/3 ends. Look at that. It's not as great or not as large as a half. So this is where the fraction flip book can really help us. Half versus third, 1/2 is bigger. 1/6 versus 1/8. Look at that. 1/6 is longer than 1/8. Now what if our examples are 2/6 and 2/8? Remember, our numerators are always the same. So 2/6, where we go 1, 2. There's our little line. 1, 2. 2/8 versus 2/6. Again, 2/6 is greater than 2/8. 2/8. Whenever our numerators are something other than 1, I like to just think, okay, our numerators are the same, so let's just look at one of each of these fractions. And you'll see that they go in size. Half, third, fourth, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller until we have teeny tiny 12ths. Because again, think of it this way. If we had a pizza and we split it with our friend, we're going to get half that pizza. But if we ended up having a bunch of friends over and we have to split that same pizza into 12 slices, they're going to be itty bitty slices. So the more times you split it, the smaller the amount. If we only split it once, we're going to have the biggest amount. Okay, so go ahead and use your fraction flip book as often as you need to when you're completing today's activities. Same numerator.